Hello, everybody. My name is Naya, and I'm the BlackFemale engineer. I provide content for new and aspiring software engineers. And last summer, I joined the job market, the tech job market. So I basically enlisted in a war. That's how it felt every single day when I was in that job hunt. And I brought you all along with me throughout. I shared videos and day in the lives when I was having interviews and preparing and all of that. And it is 6 months later. Where are we at now? Let's get right into it. Throughout the job hunt, everything was just so intense, and I definitely made mistakes that I wish I had just not made, as mistakes go. And so throughout this video, I'm going to go through every single job interview I had, how far it went, and what mistakes I made that stopped me from getting those offers so that hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. Let me start off by saying, yes, I did get a job. But let me just say, even though I did, which is something to be grateful for in this economy. I am fully aware. That being said, it can be difficult once you're there or once you're accepting and everything, realizing that like, ooh, this isn't necessarily like what I really want and what to do after that. So let me tell you what I was looking for in a job. I was looking for iOS roles, primarily the goal would have been remote. However, this ended up not really being feasible in every kind of job I was interviewing for. And the type of salary I was looking for was $150,000 or above. First job I interviewed for, a very popular dating app, and I was thrilled to be interviewing for this role. Just doing my research, it looked like they have a very just like young, hip, fun culture. So I was like, bet. But then I'm in the interview and the interviewer was so late, like 15, 20 minutes late. And while we were chatting and everything, the questions they were asking me, it seemed like they were just questions without good intention. You know, when someone's asking you questions and like they're asking because they're truly curious or want to know, or they're asking you because they're trying to see you like slip or something, like it's a very different tone. That's kind of how I felt throughout the interview. And overall, I ended up not getting a second interview, which made complete sense to me. But yes, that was the first round. Really not much to say and not much I really learned other than don't take those experiences personally. You definitely need to like trust your gut and know that like, wait, I know I'm not the one that's tripping over here. Like I know I'm capable. I know that I know my shit. So why am I feeling like someone is trying to like catch me on something? That's absolutely their problem. And not only that their problem, is probably a good thing that you are not moving forward with them because this is just the first round, my guy. This is supposed to be the 20-minute, hey, how are you? Like, what? So, can you imagine what the culture actually is? And after looking more into the culture, I saw that this is not an experience that is isolated to just me, but one that multiple people have shared. So, the main lesson of that is like, hey, sometimes things are just not for you, and that's honestly a good thing. Interview number 2, a very popular social media app. I also was thrilled to be interviewing for this role. It was in person, which sucked. Mandatory 5 days a week in person. But honestly, I was like, on the day of the life videos will go hard. Like, I think this will be fun. And so I was so excited to go through. I go through the first interview. The recruiter is extremely nice, extremely kind, gives me some insight into how to do well in the next following interviews. And so I go into the second round, which is a technical. I had prepared for the technical like crazy. If you look back at my day in the life videos and you see how I'm talking about spending literally 10, 12, 15 hours a day on the code, yes, it was for this interview because one of the things the recruiter said to me was people really keep tripping up on this technical, so really make sure you're prepared. So I was like, bet. I got LeetCode Pro. This is not sponsored because I saw that with LeetCode Pro, I could study specifically the questions that people have said this company has asked. So I was up all day and night studying. I ended up doing really well, actually. I tracked my progress and was able to really learn some crazy like algos and just ways to solve them. And I was really proud of myself for that, to be completely honest. Tell me why I was studying lead code mediums and hards. Tell me why I show up to the interview and it's basically a lead code tail end of easy. Like not easy, but definitely not like solid medium. It was definitely like the tail end of easy. I choked. Like I I had to I spent so much time studying these really hard concepts that when it was time for me to get this problem that was way easier than anything that I had studied, I had no idea. I just kept tripping up on things I shouldn't be tripping up on. Like if anyone watches Grey's Anatomy, there's this scene where one of the doctors, Dr. Christina Yang, she's like the best doctor in the hospital. She needs to do an appendectomy procedure that is typically done by like first year, second year doctors, something like that. And she can't do it. She can do heart surgeries with her eyes closed, but she cannot do this simple appendectomy. And that's how I felt. I'm the quarterback that can do the Hail Mary, but I can't do a simple just like I don't fucking know turnover. I don't know. So that's what that was. So the main lesson there, y'all, was do not skip the basics. Do not, because I had about 7 days to study for this. So I really just leaped forward and just said, hey, I just need to know the hard concepts. Do not skip the basics. And when I say basics, I literally mean knowing how to end a while loop. Like, literally don't skip the basics. And don't think that just because like a company is set to have hard interviews that you can just skip over and learn hard stuff. Because now look at you, the way you look now, you can't even end this loop. Like, what are we doing? So that was job number 2. Now, job number 3. I really enjoyed my experience interviewing for job number 3. Job number 3 was a previous A list, but now more like B and C list blog. It was something that I had grown up with, and so the idea of like getting to work here seemed really cool. And it also kept being reiterated through interviews along with just online that if you work here, oh, you have an easy life. You will be chilling, barely doing anything. Like life will be good. So I was like, okay, bet. Spoke with the recruiter. Recruiter was great. Spoke with the hiring manager for the second interview. That was phenomenal. The technical interview is a project, and I'd never had a project-based technical interview, I don't think. Yeah, no, I really hadn't. Basically, I was given a API endpoint and said, hey, hit this endpoint. And once you do, I want you to display X type of things onto the iPhone screen. And that was the project. It was live and I had to just talk through what I was doing. And I prepared really well for this because something I make sure to do is in the previous interview, I make sure to ask what things should I know or how can I prepare for the next. And so when I had spoken to the hiring manager and it seemed like he liked me and it seemed like he was moving me forward, I was like, okay, great. How can I prepare for the next interview? And he basically spilled the beans. Like, this is exactly what we're going to ask you. This is how like we're going to be like testing you. This is how to prepare. So that's what I did. And I did quite phenomenal in my opinion, for that interview. Move on to the last interview, which is the super day. And I say super day, but basically just the round where there were like 3 different people I was interviewing with, all lasting about an hour. So it was about a 3-hour interview. And I felt like this interview went really well. I was high energy. I showed that I really cared about their product and have grown up with their product and how I can just enhance their goals, right? So I felt like I did a great job. I get the rejection letter and they were like, we chose somebody in the city where the headquarters are, which was really disappointing because it felt like I was kind of led on. Like, why get me through all of this knowing where I am, saying to me that it could be remote? That, yes, that's another thing. They told me this job could be remote. And so why lead me on throughout all of this? And now it's between me and one other person, and you chose the person in the location that you're in, saying that that's why I didn't get the job. That didn't seem great to me, in my opinion. That just stung. And honestly, this is something I have had to learn throughout my job hunt process this last summer, is companies no longer want to relocate people. Like, one, companies want people in person, but I feel like all of us have seen that. But two, even if they say they're willing to be remote for you or willing to relocate you, they don't want to. They don't want to. And they are willing to like get someone else who is more like in their location. So what I recommend to do is say your location is either in their headquarters, if that's what they ask. If they ask you where you're located, let me not tell you what to do. Hold on. Let me not tell you what to do, and then you get mad at me for following my advice. Me, personally, looking back, I would have simply said, oh, yes, I'm at your headquarters. That's exactly where I am. And then once I get the job, I negotiate a signing bonus that allows me to relocate, given that I am open to relocating. If not, then fine. But if I'm open to relocating, which for this job, I think I would have been like open to it, open to those discussions. Yes, that's exactly. Oh, you're in Wisconsin. You're in Tallahassee. I am right next door. I could throw a rock and hit your front offices. I am right there. I'm actually in the lobby. That's so funny. I live in the lobby. Wow. Yeah, that's what I would have done looking back. Another thing I would have done looking back at like where I kind of stumbled in my interviewing is really make sure I can talk the technical aspect of my project front to back, up and down, sideways, blindfolded. If you can make sure you can not only talk about the technical parts, but also why you chose that direction over an alternative or something, if you can just continue on that type of practice, it'll also help make your interview and your communication a lot smoother when asked about those types of projects. So that was job number 3. Now, y'all, I had so many interviews. And honestly, I will say, I did appreciate that my resume was not the problem, because I did have quite a bit of interviews with some really great companies. And so if you would like a copy of basically how my resume is structured, comment BFE 2025 in the comments below and I'll make sure to send it to you. Because no, I saw like, okay, bet my resume is not the issue. It's how can we tweak and alter to make sure that in the interview, I am just screaming nothing but amazing colors. Now we're at job number 4. Right. Job number 4 was actually quite hilarious because there wasn't really a big part of me or even a medium part of me that even wanted this job. This job was for a very popular sports league. But that being said, I'm an occasional sports watcher. And even when I am, I'm not watching this sport. So I honestly couldn't care less a little bit. And by this point, I was just tired. I was so tired. Like, if y'all see how I just dropped off from posting my weekly updates and everything, I was just so mentally drained and demoralized. I just needed a break. But yes, I get this interview request. Don't even prepare. Don't even prepare for it at all. And I just kept not preparing, and they kept giving me another interview. I was like, oh, kind of like a man, you know? It's like, oh, like now that I don't care, now you care. Interesting. But yeah, it was like, okay, so they keep giving me interviews. I end up at the very last interview, and this last interview was a mix of system design, which I've never had a system design interview before, and a regular coding technical interview. I studied system design up and down preparing for that interview because at this point I was like, okay, I'm at the last stretch. Now I do want to see if I can get it. I studied using Exponent's YouTube channel, again, not sponsored, but they have a really great like YouTube channel where they share how to go through the system design interview of different types of companies with different types of questions, and it was really, really helpful. So I used them to study, and I did really well in my system design interview, in my opinion. The technical, I have never, okay. Even though I was interviewing all iOS roles, I've never had to do like an algo problem in Swift. That's like never been a thing that I've had to do. The most I've ever coded in like Swift for technical was the project that I coded for that blog job. But all the other jobs that had technicals, I was doing them in JavaScript. When I show up to the technical and they expect me to code it out in Swift, I'm like, wait a damn minute, what do you mean? What do you mean? I bombed that interview so hard. So hard. I had no idea what to do. And also at the same time, my computer started having these really bad problems where it basically turned into a desktop computer because its battery life was shot. It could not even turn on if it wasn't attached to an outlet to battery life. And the second I took the cord off, it would immediately shut down. So I actually very recently finally had enough and went to the Apple Store and they did replace my battery, so now it's good. But this is in the midst of all of that, and for some reason I had like knocked over my cord and my computer just shut down in the middle of the interview. And this happened 2 or 3 times. So not only do I have no clue how to solve this problem the way they wanted it to be solved, but also my computer is also over it. It's like a bitch, like you have no business being here right now. How would we call it a day? And so yeah, called it a day. And I did I even hear back? I don't think I even heard back. That's crazy. I don't think I ever heard back from them ever. So maybe I still have a shot because I haven't been rejected. So yes, that was that interview. And I say the biggest lesson there, even though I honestly believe I did this, but it kind of led me astray a little bit. Make sure you ask what language the technical interview is expected to be in, or if you can choose your own language. And two, if it's going to be like project based or like an actual algo problem. Because when I asked this, they were like, oh, it's going to be like a Swift mini project. So I thought like, okay, cool. So it'll probably be the same as the blog interview I had. I showed up, it's a straight algo, but you have to solve it in Swift. And I was like, so now let's get into job 5. Job 5 was a cloud computing company and they were looking for more web development, which this was my first and only web development interview I had done. And I was not interested in it at all. I honestly don't even remember applying. I think it was like in the late night hours of just applying to jobs to apply, but like don't really remember doing it. And it was pretty chill. Like the people were really nice. I really loved the recruiter. I enjoyed speaking with the hiring manager. And the third interview was a pretty typical just 2 hour interview. Here's some technical work and here's some behavioral. But even the technical work wasn't even a true technical like algo problem. It was more like, can you explain these definitions and concepts? So I explained them and all was good. And I did get that job. Now, the reason you don't see confetti just filling the room right now is because I really wasn't thrilled. It was just not the type of job that I thought I would get or even like wanted. And it wasn't exciting for me, but I was grateful to be able to get paid while learning industry relevant skills, AI, cloud, etc. So I was grateful for that. And so I took it while also still interviewing for other roles, which has not really ended, to be honest. Like this is what I mean by like I got to the goal of like getting a job, but like I guess the silent part of that goal was like getting a job I'm really excited about. But also it's not a terrible place to be at all. Everyone is super kind, everyone is helpful, and everyone kind of just like understands that we show up, get the work done, then go home, and like it's okay. And I get that paycheck at the end of the day. And filled what I was looking for the most part, other than the job title itself. It did suck that it's not in iOS, which I wish it was, but other than that, it did fill my other requirements. So that is how my job hunt, quote unquote, ended. But honestly, more to come on that. If you would like me to continue to go through my days and interviews and things like that whenever I do have certain interviews, because I have lately, like I said, been interviewing other places, please let me know and I can continue that up for y'all, knowing that it definitely won't be like the brute force series it was before, like needing a job yesterday. You know what I mean? But yes, if you still would like to see that process, please let me know and I can definitely continue to do that. But also, I really do appreciate just the motivation and kind words y'all were giving me throughout all of this way. It truly meant a lot, especially once I just got so tired and mentally drained with it all. So please let me know where y'all are at in your job hunts and what you'd like to see from me to help you get to your goals faster. But until then, I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day, your week, and I'm so thrilled to talk to y'all later. Bye.